Right.
Okay.
Okay, how are you?
Ready, man? Yeah, no, man. They got me doing something outside this evening, so got me fast to sweat.
Now, if I knew you was gonna be here, I'd have brought you one too.
You can have that bougie water when you live close to those folks. You gotta have that Brooks's water.
Save a lot of money.
No, man, they got me doing something with the chamber this evening.
It's in Ohio. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Yeah.
I don't get to wear these all the time. Henry? You a lawyer? I told all my lawyer friends I ain't never read as much case law than I did this dang on weekend. I told all my lawyer friends I have never read this much case law than I did this past weekend.
Absolutely. I didn't know she was still.
Yeah. What's your thought?
Have you read
I think the opinion is, I think whoever wrote it. Take the bear weight
Well, the next time I see you,
No problem at all. And
dressed in the 9s or 10s or 10.2.
That's where.
Big friend today.
Let's get this thing rallying. That'll bring police on follow. Okay, it is 3:34. I'd like to call this Caddo Parish regular session meeting to order. It is August 4th. Could we have a roll call, please, Mr. Clerk?
Commissioner Hopkins, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Jackson,
Here.
Commissioner Young, Commissioner Burrell,
Here.
Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Gage Watts, Commissioner Taliaferro,
Here, sir.
Commissioner Atkins,
Here.
Commissioner Chavez,
Here, sir.
Commissioner Lazarus,
Here.
and Commissioner Epperson.
Present.
All right, thank you. I am counting 8 of 12 present right now. I believe there may be another commissioner or two who are just outside the room, but 8 of 12 does constitute a quorum.
Great, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Commissioner Burrell, would you please lead us in an invocation, and Commissioner Lazarus, would you follow the invocation with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? All stand.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to be here today. Thank you for the opportunity to be in front of your people and do the will of the people. Thank you, O Lord, for all the things that you do, because you do it by giving us the opportunity to just be here, and through your grace, and being grateful to all that we do, my Heavenly Father. Thank you, O Lord, for those who protect us every day. All these blessings in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell, for that invocation, and thank you, Commissioner Lazarus, for the pledge. Mr. Clerk, do we have any agenda additions?
I'm not aware of any agenda additions today, though I would point out that there was an item that is one of your new business items, appointing Mr. Manjit Singh Warar to the Broadband Committee. We did not previously have Mr. Singh Warar's full name on the agenda, and so that was added. So you may want to, just because of that technical change, go ahead and open a public hearing and adopt the agenda as updated. Just, it's a technical.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell, would you like to make a motion to add Mr., your representative?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Burrell, a second from, I'll second Commissioner Burrell's. So let's have we'll have to have an open meeting first, right?
Correct.
Before we vote. All right, I will open the floor to any citizens in the room that would like to discuss, like to speak for or against making this agenda addition. If you'd like to speak for or against this agenda addition, please come forward. Seeing no one, the public hearing is closed and we can vote. Let's all vote on making the change to the agenda, the addition to the agenda.
And that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition. And thank you very much for going through that. That brings us now to the next item, which is citizens' comments. And I believe we have received 2 requests. Citizens who would like to make a citizen's comment are asked to fill out a comment card. They are located in the lobby out here. There's also an opportunity to fill those out online in advance of the meeting. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes, and as I've said, I believe we've submitted 2 on behalf of constituents. If anyone else would like to submit one, you can put it in the box to my left here.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. First on our list here is Ms. Francine Monroe Brown. I like your name.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francine Monroe Brown, and my address is 8496 Meadow Parkway Drive in Shreveport, Louisiana. I am here today as Executive Director of Seniors First. I just wanted to introduce myself to the Commission. I started this nonprofit organization back in 2017 after the death of both of my parents within an 8-month time span. I decided to do a case study on why seniors die suddenly like that, and I found that it was due to isolation, delayed access to transportation, and other risk barriers that we don't suffer from, that seniors suffer from every day. Since that time, I've done more than 100 programs. I just recently co-organized the Cedar Grove pre-Juneteenth celebration and parade with Ms. Kimberly Jones back in June. I'm presently working with the Cedar Grove mural as appointed by the city and also the chairperson. And I'm just here to introduce myself, let you guys know who I am, and my commitment to the community is very strong, and I intend to keep doing things for seniors. Also, under the senior umbrella, it also incorporates people of other ages where I can benefit and make positive, immediate impacts in the community. Thank you so much for allowing me to make this presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you for coming down, and thank you for what you're doing for our seniors. The second visitor is Frances Russell. Welcome, Ms. Russell. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for allowing me to come. My name is Frances Juanita Russell. I live at 10235 Cook Road, Bethany, Louisiana, 71007. The property at the end of Cook Road was sold to an organization that plans to put many homes in it for homeless people. It's called Settled in Village. I was told by Mrs. Lois Mayberry, I think she is the chairman, this would be people with drug and alcohol problems, and she also used the word mental. I don't know if that was, anyway. And we are the undersigned property owners and the tax-paying citizens of Caddo Parish and residents of Cook Road and surrounding communities do hereby register our collective opposition to the proposed development of this settled-in village community on Cook Road. And I have a copy of petitions and a brochure that was passed out to the residents in the trailer park, and the homeowners were not notified. We agree these people need help, but we feel this is not the right location. It seems to be a safety barrier, puts us at risk in a rural area since we're further out from the police and the fire department. And I don't know if they have talked to the fire department or sheriff department for their input on this. Thank you for allowing me to say this. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Russell. We appreciate you coming down.
What do I do with this?
You can leave it with the clerk, and he can distribute it. He can distribute copies to the commission. Our third visitor is Mr. Ken Epperson, Sr.
Good afternoon, all. I just wanted to get the feel as to how it is to stand before you as a citizen.
Welcome, Mr. Epperson.
All right, thank you. My name is Kenneth R. Epperson, Sr. I reside at 3822 Treat Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71119. I'm here to speak in reference to about 3 items. The first is the annexation of some property by the town of Greenwood. For some of you that may not know the historical context of annexation, back in the 90s, annexation was an aggressive tool that was used by various governmental entities. Once you had property that was developed and had some extensive economic and taxable value, they would go out and aggressively annex it. So those laws were changed. Recently, Greenwood, the town of Greenwood, annexed about 49 acres that's directly adjacent from Deer Creek, Timberline, Colonial Heights, and Western Hills subdivision. The citizens there felt that it was with malice, it was under the table, it was not morally correct, and we are doing some things to see if we can rectify that through the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, the Attorney General, and the local district attorney's office. This sets a fear in the heart of seniors, of individual homeowners throughout the parish of Caddo. If there's something that wants to be done, a company or an entity that wants something to go their way and they can't get it through the normal process of zoning, that they will use this particular deal. A number of my constituents have contacted me relative to Greenwood being desperate for tax dollars by doing such a dastardly deed as this annexation. And they were also highly dissatisfied with the vote of this body not to allow our parish attorney to investigate the way that this process went out. My second deal is the Cook Road, the person that came and spoke before you relative to that situation. We don't know what the process is with this new planning, parish planning zoning board, the Metropolitan Planning Commission. As Ms. Francis stated to you, there's going to be a development down there. I went down and toured the area. The majority of that portion is not parish road. It cuts off before it gets there. So we want to know if there's a process that the citizens will have an opportunity to have a say in what's going on there. So today I would like to ask the parish attorney, and I think Mr. Clark is here, if he would get with Ms. Francis and her group and see if they can give them some information relative to as to what remedies they would have to have a say in that development. And thirdly, the town of Greenwood has had issues with the water. I've been a resident. I built up there 19 years. The water has been brown. It's steady having bar bands. There's a steady problem with the system. Many of you may know that we appropriated $750,000 in last year's budget to try to help them out. We have given them money in the past for that water system. There are too many issues with the town of Greenwood's water system, and we need to do something to rectify that situation. So I'm going to be getting with the parish attorney to see if there's something that we can do to make sure that there's transparency relative to the Greenwood water situation, and if we can have clean, dependable, potable drinking water so we can have good development and growth in West Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Epperson. Mr. Clerk?
All right. That brings us to visitors, which we have no scheduled visitors today. And then that would bring us to adopting regular session minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Jackson, a second from Commissioner Young
Move to approve the regular and special.
to approve both the regular and special minute meetings for July 7th and August 1st. Could we please have a vote on that?
Absolutely.
Sorry, I pressed it.
Okay, that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. And that brings us to the next item on your agenda, which is special resolutions. We only have one special resolution today, and that is a special resolution of remembrance and respect for Bishop Fred Caldwell Sr.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second from Commissioner Burrell to adopt resolution number 8-1. Would you like to comment on your motion?
I believe that we might come back to this when Commissioner Epperson, since he was the one who actually penned most of this, and he has put it on his, he's coming back, and he has put it on his newsletter out into District 12. Bishop Caldwell was a staple in District 12 and also in District 2 with both of the facilities that they do have, the Greenwood Acres Full Gospel Church. So he was on the west side and also on the north side of Shreveport. And he was a good friend of mine as well. He taught me through a lot of situations about some past situations in Shreveport and his perspective of that and how it could be done totally different. So I valued his opinion as I talked to him throughout my political career. And he was fun to talk to whenever we talked. I now yield to Commissioner Epperson.
Commissioner Epperson, we're on
Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of the resolution. I'd like to have it read, please.
okay. Could we please stand for this? Stand and read the read the resolution. You stand for that?
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't want to. All right, this is a resolution of remembrance and respect for Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr. Whereas the Caddo Parish Commission notes with deep regret the passing of individuals whose lives and works have served as an example of the worthy values that benefit this community and this parish. And whereas Bishop Caldwell, pastor of Green Acres Full Gospel Baptist Church in Shreveport, went to be with the Lord on July 22nd, 2022 at the age of 76 years old. And whereas Bishop Caldwell was called into the gospel ministry on April 24th, 1977, and preached his first sermon at Avenue Baptist Church on June 12th, 1977, he went on to help Greenwood Acres pastor Milton McElroy Flynn in the summer of 1981, then later became pastor at Greenwood Acres Full Gospel Baptist Church in 1983. And whereas Bishop Caldwell had many successes during his life, including authoring four books, building KSYB radio station, and founding Greenwood Acres Christian College. And whereas Bishop Caldwell may be best remembered in the community for the love he had for his wife, Sister Mary Kay Caldwell, and their 2 children, Timmy D. Caldwell Dixon and Fred A. Caldwell II, as well as his sweet spirit and kind heart towards mankind. He spent his life preaching the gospel, leading and loving people. And whereas he is also remembered for the warmth of his smile, his wisdom, and his devotion to his family, his church, and his community, he will be missed. Now therefore be it resolved by the Caddo Parish Commission and legal session convened that it does hereby express its deepest regrets at the passing of Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr. Be it further resolved that the Commission does further convey to the family and friends of Bishop Caldwell its sincerest expressions of sympathy and consolation, and the prayer that they will be comforted in the knowledge of a life that continues beyond this veil.
Move for adoption.
All right, please be seated. We have a motion from Commissioner Epperson, a second from Commissioner Burrell to adopt this issue. Commissioner Burrell, well, first of all, Commissioner Epperson.
Burrell can go.
Okay, Commissioner Burrell.
Now, Mr. President, I just wanted to also acknowledge Bishop Caldwell. He was such a jewel in this community. He contributed so much. His church actually lied in my legislative district, and he worked and supported me throughout my legislative career. He was a spiritual advisor also, and he was a straight shooter. If it's something that he didn't particularly like, or something he thought that you should address, he didn't have a problem in telling you. He wasn't one to beat around the bush. So he was a straight shooter, and I could appreciate that. So he would definitely be missed by all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burrell. Anything to add, Commissioner Epperson?
Yes. You want to speak in reference to?
I was just gonna, you're gonna notify about the funeral, the time and the place? Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Epperson.
That it? Okay, I will be making the presentation tomorrow. I'll be on program at the funeral. It will be at 10 a.m. at the Greenwood Life Center at his facility on Greenwood Road. Viewing of the remains today is at Heavenly Gates from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Jewel Street. And Bishop Caldwell and I go a long ways back, probably before some of you all were born. We worked out at Western Electric telephone manufacturing plant on Mansfield Road after we got discharged from the military. And fine gentleman, came a long way, and I really would ask that you would read his bio that I passed out. Wasn't a hypocrite, shot straight from the hip, told the truth, and I think that's why he had such a strong following, and his church facilities are immaculate. His radio station is immaculate. When he came out to the Veterans Cemetery to be signed up for interment, I told him I was glad that he earned that. He needed a place of pristine and perpetual care, such as the Northwest Louisiana Veterans Cemetery when he transitioned, because that was him, the way that he took care of all of his earthly facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Seeing no one else on the board, shall we vote?
And that special resolution is adopted with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. That brings us to the next item on our agenda today, which is communiques and committee reports.
All right, if we have any communiques or committee reports, please get on the board.
The administration has. We just have some clarifications from Monday's meeting. We want to clarify that the Ring doorbell installation is ongoing and is currently in progress. I think Monday we said that it would be handled by the Caddo Council on Aging starting August 5th, but it is in full progress and installations are going on right now. Also,
Ms. Bryant, can you speak a little to your mic? We can't hear you.
sure. Also, the wheelchair ramp program is actually starting tomorrow, August 5th. Caddo Council on Aging will start taking appointments for applications for that program. I think on Monday we said August 8th. We want to clarify that it's actually tomorrow, August 5th.
Okay.
And that concludes the administration's response.
Thank you. Commissioner Epperson, you're back on the board.
Ms. Brown, if you would, thank Mr. Kevin Lawrence and Facilities and Maintenance for providing the ditty bags for our back-to-school bash in conjunction with Grace Point Church of the Nazarene upon last week. Overwhelming crowd. Everything was very well received, and we appreciate it very much. Also, special thank you to the individuals that man the Shirley Francis compactor site. Get so many good comments from the way that those gentlemen handle customers when they come to those facilities. So make sure you let them know that. Matter of fact, I went out there myself. That's why I've been carrying mine to see for myself. And they didn't know me from Adam's house cat because I got in an undercover vehicle, and they were just as nice. Thank you.
We will pass that message along.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Commissioner Johnson.
Yeah, I was just gonna do a point of clarification on Ms. Bryan. Is that CCOA or CCAA?
No, Caddo Council on Aging.
On agent? Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank Parks and Recreation, Pat, Ms. Katina, Ms. Mary, and that team for their support for several safe summer events. The Stoner Hill reunion looked to have went off very well. To my knowledge, we've done that event 3-4 years now, and never have had an issue. And once was an area where crime was rampant. If we could ever kind of spruce up and get rid of some of the blight, it would be great. But it's something that allows that community to take pride in what they're doing, and things have kind of toned down significantly there. So, and it's something that they look forward to. So, the other was the citywide kickback. I want to thank Parks and Recreation, our media, public PIO. Is that what she called? Is that what Crystal is today?
Communications manager. Communications manager.
I'm sorry, Crystal. I'll be in trouble for another month. Communications manager and Ms. Bryant and the LSU mobile strike team for getting out in very short order, getting COVID-19 vaccines done for students and families that were on their way there. And thank Craig's Events and Friends in Unity for helping sponsor that. I want to say my last report was they had right at about 110 people show up, and only 65 were eligible. It was only for Caddo Parish residents. I don't know why Bossier Parish, they say everything is better in Bossier, but they seem to be able to jump that bridge when we've given out programs and resources for our community to make it better. But that's what they say, everything is better in Bossier. And then we had some folks who just were not there with students, and so for their safety, we wanted to just kind of keep it as a closed event. So total 65 individuals were able to get their vaccinations that day. And the irony, as I told folks, the irony of that, we were not able to be a part of those events because we were participating in NACO, and as we all know, we received the National Achievement Award, I believe, for our Safe Summer programming, Safe Summer, and that's not all our Safe Summer programming does. They're going out to the schools, working, but just want to shout out definitely our Parks and Rec team because they're out there every weekend working. I think they are doing jump outs in the street or something, or they just jump out in the street and pop up and start playing in the street. But it's needed, it's helpful, and I think the community, they're looking forward to that. So thank you for that hard work, and I always like to dedicate that. And on the wheelchair ramp program, I appreciate you, Ms. Bryant, and your team and whoever else with the parish has worked to get that to fruition. I know it's been a while since we did it, but I'm hoping that seniors will sign up. We did ask the Community Action Agency, but they were just at capacity. They respectfully declined to do it, and that's admirable because a lot of organizations will just take it on, but they declined because they were just simply at capacity. But I know that Monica Wright and the Caddo Council on Aging will do a great job. Hopefully, at some point, we can get an update on Midway or wherever they are. Hopefully the need is there because we know that there's a need, but hopefully we get the word out enough about that need and can have a presentation and update about those residents that we serve. So I'm excited that we are able
to get that. Those are resources that was originally, correct me if I'm wrong, but originally derived from the CAFA application fees and put back into our community. So instead of sitting on those dollars at the parish, they're being put back to our seniors who are most in need, who've paid their debt, who've done their time, to our community. And it's a great thing to be able to just give back to our seasoned citizens here in Caddo Parish. So hopefully we all will be proud of that program as it rolls out. Was it the CAFA program, Ms. Bryant?
Yes, yes, sir. The
Okay.
CAFA program has brought in dollars, and we reinvested them in this program.
Okay, so as folks are buying homes, they're being reinvested back into the community. So look forward to us maybe submitting an application to NACO about that. I don't know if there's a category for it, but let's put it in there.
We will look.
That's it for me. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. This is in regards to resolution number 37 on our agenda today. I received an email from a Frances Baker. I don't know if she had sent out to anybody else, but we also received a letter from the Public Service Commissioner in our box. They were in support of the resolution, just asked that they regrettably could not be here today to speak on behalf of it. So just wanted to update everybody, since this is the communicate portion of this for the record. We may want to add those later on.
Just as a point of information, Ms. Baker is in the audience from from Commissioner Campbell's office.
Oh, okay, good. And
And that item is attached on your agenda as well. Underneath the resolution 37, it should be hyperlinked there. If it's not, just refresh your page.
Okay, I looked at it. I want to make sure that got read into the record. That's all, President.
Thank you, Commissioner Chavez, and thank you for recognizing Public Service Commission and his team this afternoon. Okay, let's see. Anyone else on the board? Commissioner Epperson, are you back?
Right, yes, I forgot a couple items. I want to thank Mr. Wesley, Patrick Wesley, the Parks Director. He came by and picked me up, and we went out and toured Pinchback Park, and Pinchback Park is open now. Also, I see Mr. Michael Corbin is in the office. Known Michael since he was a city council person, and then he transitioned into being with governmental affairs with SWEPCO. He's always been receptive to issues that I've had relative to concerns about my constituents, from overgrowing foliage on power lines and poles, power outages and things of that nature, and just want to let him know I appreciate what he's done in the past. I know he will continue to be even better in the future. And for the record, I would like to give this letter from the town of Greenwood relative to the last violation, relative to the quality of drinking water. If he would run copies and put it in the official records. I think the violation was in April, and the citizens just heard about this in August. I got a lot of calls about it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Okay, anyone else for communiques?
I will.
Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. Chairman, doesn't look like she's here. I saw Ms. Tutu Jack out there. I assumed that was her leaving. I haven't seen her in some time. She a mover and shaker during the 80s. Well, I know the 80s here in Shreveport politically, and really wanted to recognize her like she's got nothing left. That's all,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Well, maybe she'll stop back in and we can recognize her.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Clerk, where are we?
We are now at President's Report.
Okay, I will just make a couple of quick comments. I'd like to thank everybody for their dedication to the commission today. It's been a very busy day for many of us. Many of you are in your fourth commission meeting. We started the day at noon with the Long Range Planning Commission discussing the housing fund and housing options. Then we moved into economic development, where we discussed the Ronald McDonald House and continued to evaluate that opportunity. And then we moved into an appropriations meeting where we discussed the Indigent Defender's Office and the needs of the Indigent Defender's Office. So here we are in our main meeting, but just wanted to thank you all who took time out of your day to participate in all those important meetings. All right, Mr. Clerk, we can move on.
Okay, that brings us to public hearings on zoning ordinances and cases, and we do have 2 items in this section today. The first is 11.1, which is a public hearing for ordinance number 6244 of 2022. That's in relation to case number 22-1 CTAP. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, to extend the notification area for mailed notices, to establish the provisions for the Neighborhood Participation Plan, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. You want me to read both
Yeah.
items and just open one
Please.
hearing? Great. The next one is a public hearing for ordinance number 6245 of 2022 in relation to case number 22-11-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the north side of North Lakeshore Drive at the intersection of Fairlane Circle in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I'd like to open up the floor for a public hearing. If anyone is interested in discussing ordinance number 6244 or ordinance number 6245, if you would like to speak either for or against either of these ordinances, please come to the front podium. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and move forward.
Okay. That brings us to the public hearing on ordinances, where we have one item today. 12.1 is a public hearing for ordinance number 6246 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2022 to provide an additional appropriation for Robinson's Rescue and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Okay, we'd like to open up the floor for public hearing on ordinance number 6246. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak for or against ordinance number 6246, please come forward. Seeing no one, that closes this public hearing. Continue on, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, and if I could just ask, I know some of our sound is a little bit low today. To help that, if your mic is not, pointing towards your face, it might help to pick up some additional sound if you would adjust those mics to just be a little closer directionally to your face as you speak.
Thank you.
Just a reminder. Thank y'all so much. And that brings us to the next section on our agenda, which is zoning ordinances for final passage. The first item, 13.1, is ordinance number 6244 of 2022. Again, that's in relation to 22-1-CTAP. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo, as amended the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, to extend the notification area for mailed notices, to establish the provisions for the Neighborhood Participation Plan, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move to approve.
A motion from
Move to approve, I'm sorry.
A motion from Commissioner Jackson to approve, a second by Commissioner John Paul Young. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to comment?
I think this is kind of just standard. Mr. Clark, you don't have to if you don't want to.
Thank you for this opportunity. Just real briefly, one of our charges is citizen engagement, and in order to be successful in citizen engagement, we have to continue to reach out to citizens. The standard notification area initially was 300 feet, and then we extended it to 500, and just extending it because you have large tracts of land in the parish to 1,500 will ensure that we will probably be able to reach out to more citizens and notify them of the events that are occurring in their immediate vicinity. Real briefly, the Neighborhood Participation Plan has been extremely successful in the city because you may remember, Mr. Atkins, it gives citizens an opportunity to reach out and be advised of all new developments that's coming into their particular area so they can ask all the questions, sitting in an informal situation where they are provided all the information they're needed. So we think this ordinance is an excellent ordinance that we truly embrace as being part of your operations within the parish.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Yeah, I think it's kind of helped mitigate some of the collateral damage that has happened in the past with regard to just getting to the MPC zoning meetings, and this is the first time that the developer and you get to the meeting and the developer would say, I met with the community would say, I ain't met the developer. So it's organized by the MPC. I've been to a couple in up on North Market and in my district several times, and so they are very informal, well put together, and I appreciate the MPC for being open to extending this zone, understanding the dynamics that you have up there. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Chavez.
Thank you, President. This has been a huge success in Southern Hills and District 10. A lot of the neighbors would always come after the fact and they say, why didn't you tell us? And Director Clark, thank you for doing this. Ever since this has come to play, we haven't had those conversations at the neighborhood association meeting where the neighbors didn't know what was coming into our area. So I think this is hugely successful, and extending it to go out further to make sure that everybody around knows what's going on is only going to be a good idea. So I'll be voting in support. Thank you, President.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else on the board, I think we're ready to vote on this, Mr. Clerk.
Okay. Should be ready to vote now. And Commissioner Burrell? Okay, and that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. And that brings us to the next item. Ordinance number 6245 of 2022 is in relation to case number 22-11-P. That's an ordinance to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code, by amending the zoning of property located on the north side of North Lakeshore Drive at the intersection of Fairlane Circle in Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from R17 Single Family Residential Zoning District to RA Rural Agricultural Zoning District, and otherwise provide with respect thereto. This is in District 2.
Move to uphold the Caddo Parish Planning and Zoning Board of approval.
Move to approve. Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
To uphold their decision, which is to approve it.
Okay. We have a motion motion to approve by Commissioner Johnson.
Second.
A second from Commissioner Lazarus. Commissioner Johnson, would you care to comment?
No.
Okay. All right. Anyone on the board? Chavez, that's old.
It is.
You good? Okay. Mr. Clerk, I think we're ready to vote.
That sounds good. Commissioner Chavez Epperson. Okay. That motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. That brings us to our next item. This is ordinances for final passage, and we have ordinance number 6246 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Riverboat Fund for the year 2022 to provide an additional appropriation for Robinson's Rescue and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Young, a second from Commissioner Talaferro to approve. Commissioner Young, would you like to comment on your motion?
No, I think we've talked about this enough. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Johnson.
What was the part that was revised, amended? I would hope that in the future we can have some italicized or highlighted so we'll know.
That was the I'm sorry. I'm happy to answer that.
Whoever can.
Yeah, that was the motion. There was a motion from Commissioner Jackson to include a requirement that those funds be a reimbursement, that they be
on top of a new.
In addition to what was funded last year, like that it shows that they are tied to an increase. And I'm sorry I don't have the language in front of me.
Yeah, tied to a demand, more demand. I remember now.
But it was that portion.
I still would like for it to be highlighted or italicized or bold so that when we look at it, because, that's been a while since we actually looked at this. And so I would like that, especially when you say it's been revised or amended.
Okay, we'll definitely make that note and I can make that change.
Thank you. I'm good. That's all I have. Mr. President, we can move on.
We're done?
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mr. President. I was just checking to see if we were able to find out, is the original appropriation we provide to them, is it reimbursement based as well, or is it upfront, or would this only
It's
be
like other NGOs where we pay it out.
pay it out?
Yeah.
But only this 10 would be,
Mhm.
okay. And again, this is only just to see what the volume will be like, because they may need more, they may need less, but that's why okay. All right.
All right,
I'm
thank
good
you.
with it. I think it's good. I know we've been having, and did the city adopt their ordinance? So they did, so there's probably gonna be a demand at some point. Hopefully, 3 of those problems, Kelvin, that we was talking about last week will be first in line for this, so, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. All right, that brings us to zoning ordinances, Mr. Clerk.
Got a vote on it.
Oh, sorry. Let's vote on the issue of the appropriation for Robinson's Rescue.
All right, and that motion carries with 9 in support, none in opposition, and 3 absent. And that brings
That
us
makes
to zoning cases for introduction by title. We have one item today, and that is the zoning case appeal that we mentioned on Monday. Again, for the benefit of the public, this is the first zoning case appeal that has come before the Caddo Parish Commission in some time. So we do want to just make a special note to pay a little bit of attention to it. That is the zoning case appeal for 22-3-BAP. That's a property located at 5247 Norfolk Road in Caddo Parish, and that is, the applicant is the appellant, and his name is Mr. Dana Wheeler. That is a request for approval of a yard variance for a detached garage. The Parish Zoning Commission voted to deny the application as submitted, and the homeowner has appealed. The public hearing and final passage for that are set for August 18th, 2022. This is located in District 2, and you have a number of relevant documents that are attached there for your review. That brings us now to ordinances for introduction by title. And the first item we have today is introducing ordinance number 6247 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budgets of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Building Maintenance Fund, Capital Improvement Fund, General Fund, Oil and Gas Fund, Public Works Fund, Detention Facilities Fund, Criminal Justice Facilities Fund, Health Tax Fund, and the Riverboat Fund for the year 2022 to terminate completed or lapsed capital projects and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6248 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Oil and Gas Fund for the year 2022 to provide an appropriation for the relocation assistance and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6249 of 2022. That's an ordinance amending the 2022 budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the capital outlay and oil and gas funds and otherwise provide with respect thereto. The next item is the introduction of ordinance number 6250 of 2022. That's an ordinance to close and abandon a portion of the dedication for an unnamed road in the parish of Caddo and otherwise providing with respect thereto. And just as a side note, that final item, 6250, did have some attachments that uploaded, to where they did not translate to the online version or were not able to easily be read. Those have been replaced and should be corrected should you want to review those again. And that brings us now to work session minutes, where you have the
Move to
work session
approve.
minutes from August 1st.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Jackson, a second by Commissioner Young to approve the work session minutes. Let's vote.
All right, and that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. That brings us now to resolution number 37 to resolutions, where we have one item today. That item is resolution number 37 of 2022. That's a resolution urging and requesting Southwestern Electric Power Company, American Electric Power Company Incorporated, and Panola Harrison Electric Cooperative to establish a moratorium on disconnection or shutoff of utility service to individuals and otherwise providing with respect thereto.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Jackson to approve, and the second was from Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Jackson, would you like to comment on your motion?
No.
No? Anyone on the board? Commissioner Burrell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce to some of you a person that is now working for the Louisiana Public Service Commission. I'm doing this introduction because I've known her for a long time, Ms. Tutu Jack. She is a political mover and shaker of Shreveport, and was as I remember, one of the founders of the Black-White Task Force, which addressed a lot of the race relationships in Shreveport during that time. And it was a prelude to the Shreveport Human Relations Commission. So, Ms. Jack, if you would, come up. I hope I didn't embarrass you by introducing you from that perspective, but you've been such a jewel. You left and came back, and I'm glad to see you here.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. One correction, I don't use the name Jack anymore.
Okay.
That's all right, though. I still honor Mr. Jack and think he's a wonderful person, but I use the name Baker.
Baker.
Which was
okay.
my
I know
maiden
that part.
name.
I know that name too.
Yes, so.
Well, welcome, Ms. Baker.
Thank you.
And thank you for representing Foster Campbell's office today.
Yes, well, thank you for letting me do that. He regrets that he could not be here today. He would like to take the opportunity to come talk to y'all about this. The letter that we submitted and the email that we submitted was not exactly a letter of support. It was more of a recognition that he appreciates very much your concern of the same concerns he has, which are the incredibly rising energy cost. His district covers all the way from Texas to Vicksburg. He has an enormous number of constituents, all of whom are concerned about energy prices, as is he. And he wanted to make sure that it was pointed out that he's the one that actually imposed the first moratorium back in 2007 at the Public Service Commission, where if the heat index is over 105 for 2 consecutive days, there can be no disconnects in the summertime, and in the wintertime.
You said he proposed it?
He proposed it and it passed.
Yeah, it sounded, I thought you said opposed, and
I'm sorry, no.
I wanted to be clear for everybody.
Yeah, he proposed, he was the
Okay.
proponent of it, and it passed back in 2007. It's got a winter disconnect provision also, but of course, the one we're concerned about right now is the one for summer.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you so much, and could I ask you and Mr. Everson to coordinate on when Public Service Commissioner Foster might feel up to visiting with us? He's always welcome whenever y'all are
Yes.
ready to come visit. We'd love to hear from him. I know he's recovering from a little procedure, but whenever he's ready, we'd love to hear from him.
okay. Again, thank you for letting me represent him
Commissioner
today.
Burrell still has a comment.
Ms. Baker. I gotta remember that.
That's okay. I was Jack for a long time.
Yeah, right. I know that we had some concerns. I know Commissioner Jackson mentioned it on fees and things that are associated with the bills, and I know we had some discussions on the bills, the fees on electric bills.
Yeah.
So when he comes back, I know that there are several issues that some of the commissioners wanted to speak with him about.
Okay. I'll make sure he knows that. I sure will.
Commissioner Jackson, I see you're on the board. Is this for
Yeah,
Ms. Baker or?
Thank you, Mrs. Baker, and I got your letter, and I think I sent you a response.
You did, and we'll be looking into that.
Thank you, appreciate it. And I always thank Foster Campbell for his support of this area. We also want to talk to him about getting some of that energy efficiency money, Ms. Bryant, to update some of our facilities too. So when he come, tell him to bring his checkbook when he comes.
Okay.
But I just want to acknowledge that this is a request. This is not a demand. It's just merely a request, and it doesn't have the effect of law. It's just like writing a letter. So, and I didn't want to be a solo commissioner and just take it up on my own. So this is just the commission making that request. That's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson, and thank you, Ms. Baker.
Thank you.
All right. So we've had nobody else on the board. I guess we are ready to vote.
All right, that motion does not carry. It has 6 in support, one in opposition.
It passes.
And I'm sorry, that looks like 5 absent?
Excuse me, Mr. Clerk, it does pass, it's just a resolution. It only needs majority present.
Take 7.
I believe it needs 7 votes to pass. Yeah, it would take
Take
6 to advance to, it would take 6 to advance from a work session, but
7 to pass.
7 to be adopted.
There's 2 against.
Okay.
So that brings us then to old business, where we have no items scheduled today, and then we would move forward to new business, where the first item today is to consider the recommendations of the Property Standards Hearing Committee, and those recommendations are for cases listed below. That's 9562 Wallace Lake Road in District 9, and 5136 Old Mooringsport Road in District 2.
To adopt the Property Standards Committee's recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson, a second from Commissioner Lazarus to adopt the recommendations of the committee. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Johnson?
No, it's straightforward.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson, are you on the board for this item?
What is it?
This is the recommendations of the Property Standards Hearing
No,
Committee?
no.
Okay. All right, well, let's vote then, please. All right, Commissioner Jackson, I see you on the, is that just accidental?
No, I shouldn't be on the board.
Okay, let's clear
It
off.
just wasn't clearing.
All
That
right.
motion, by the way, does carry with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. And that brings us to the next item, which is the appointment of Mr. Manjeet Singh War to the Broadband Committee.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Burrell, a second by Commissioner Chavez to approve this appointment. Would you like to comment, Commissioner Burrell?
No more than he's a very knowledgeable person and a fine business person. He'll really be an addition to the Broadband Committee.
Okay, thank you. All right, are we ready to vote? Let's vote, please.
All right, and that motion carries with 8 in support, none in opposition, and 4 absent. That brings us now to communication reports, the second.
Okay, do we have anyone else on the board? Commissioner Jackson's name won't go away, but, all right, anyone else?
What is this for?
Communiques?
Oh, I do.
You do have a communique?
Yeah, I just want to note that the Greater Shreveport Chamber of Commerce will have its Ascension Underpass mural grand opening at 5 p.m. And so anybody who would like to participate, this is something that the commission helped fund and support. So if your schedule permits, please come by. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Commissioner Burrell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to reiterate something we talked about on Monday, that Caddo Parish has been designated or appropriated through 2 broadband providers about between $13 and $14 million for broadband deployment, and we were going to have a broadband committee, a Caddo Community Broadband Committee meeting on Friday, but because of the funeral of Bishop Caldwell, we postponed it until next Friday. So we're working on that. So hopefully this will be the first time it'll be the first time for this committee to meet. But we've been meeting. We've met one provider and 1 consultant already before this. And we're looking forward to get to work.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And Commissioner Burrell, maybe after this meeting, you and I can meet to compare calendars on that other meeting we've been trying to set up.
Okay.
All right. Any other communiques? Seeing none, do we have any citizens' late arrivals?
I do not have any citizens' comment late arrivals that have been submitted.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
So move.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.